Simone Biles shocked the world when she pulled out of the gymnastics team event and then said that she would not take part in the all-around individual event either and defend her gold. She said that she was concerned about her own mental well-being.
No injury, thankfully, and that's why I took a step back, because I didn't want to do something silly out there and get injured. So I thought it was best if these girls took over and did the rest of the job, which they absolutely did. They're Olympic silver medalists now, and they should be really proud of themselves for how well they did last minute having to go in. And it's been really stressful, this Olympic Games. I think just as a whole, not having an audience, there are a lot of different variables going into it. It's been a long week. It's been a long Olympic process. It's been a long year. So just a lot of different variables, and I think we're just a little bit too stressed out, but we should be out here having fun, and sometimes that's not the case.
And here to talk about that big decision and what it means for other athletes is sports psychologist Dr. Kimberly Wagner. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
The one thing I take from this is, like, she is a champion. She is a gold medalist. She is the best in the world. So we cannot put ourselves in her mind, in her shoes, unless you're living it. But what a decision to make. It did not come lightly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really give her a lot of credit for speaking openly about her mental health challenges, because there still is a stigma associated with mental health. So for her to talk about that openly took a lot of courage.
Why do you think other people who are not involved in her life are so upset and so mad at her, and they're just lashing out on social media? I mean, we were turning the psychology class on them.
Yeah, so unfortunately, like you said, unless you're in her shoes, you don't really understand what she is going through. And so it's easy for people on the outside to look in and say, you should be doing differently, or you should be doing better. But other than her, no one really knows what she's going through right now.
For athletes like this, on this level, training is a full-time job. This is what they do. How does that type of pressure just stack up over the years? I mean, I'm assuming that she probably took her first class in gymnastics when she was 3 or 4 years old.
So competitive athletes are used to training year-round, but the Olympics are slightly different because you only compete once every 4 years. So if you can imagine training every day for 4 years for just one single competition, that's a lot of pressure.
And speaking of pressure, she was expected to win gold. They expected perfection from her. Could all those expectations impact how an athlete like Simone Biles performs?
Of course. So the reports were saying that she was hoping to perform as well, if not better, than the previous Olympics.
Yeah.
And she also had her teammates looking up to her as a leader. So all of that pressure being put on her, and if she doesn't have good coping skills to deal with that pressure, it's definitely going to have a negative impact on her performance.
Let's talk about depression. Let's talk about anxiety. I think we've heard more about this in athletes and other famous high-profile people, if you will, over the last year or so than ever before. What is this toll that we're talking about?
It's a huge toll, and particularly this Olympics, because as she said, there are other variables involved. There's no fans there, so she may not have her full support system there. There's different worries about COVID. So just the Olympics in general is a lot of pressure, but this particular Olympics even more so.
Can age be a factor in all of this? Because a lot of these athletes in their prime, they're in their 20s, some are even in their teens, very young age.
So yes, typically people who are younger tend to be a little bit more flexible and a little bit more resilient, but they also sometimes haven't learned effective coping skills to deal with the stress. So these athletes that are at a young age, if they have not learned how to deal with the stress, that can be problematic.
Is it possible that they haven't learned to deal with have these coping skills because no one really thought that something like this could happen? Did anybody imagine this could happen to Simone Biles?
Well, it does happen. It's happened to other athletes. It's happened to Michael Phelps,
Right.
and a couple other athletes. So people know that this happens, but unfortunately, they are not proactive in trying to prevent these types of situations from happening. And they're only training these athletes from a physical aspect, but they're not training them mentally.
A lot of folks are praising this decision. She's sticking around. She's cheering on her teammates, of course. What does that mean? What is the message being sent there that she's still this is not a knock on my teammates on Team USA. This is just something personal for me. She's still cheering them on.
And I think that also indicates that she's not ashamed. She's not going away and hiding, and she's out there in the front and she's supporting her teammates and saying, you know what, even though I'm struggling right now, that doesn't mean that you have to struggle as well, and I'm going to be here to support you all the way.
Before we let you go, I wanted to just talk about the message this is sending to kids. Obviously, younger kids starting out, they look up to these athletes. They're their heroes, and they see something like this, and they may not understand what is happening. My 8-year-old son, he get into like a t-ball game, and he felt pressure to hit the ball, and he got stressed out and didn't perform well, if you will. What's the message that we tell little kids starting out, no matter the sport, about stress, about being intimidated, and how to cope?
So what athletes have to understand, regardless of what age, is that if you're going to play sports, you have to learn how to deal with all the things that go along with sport. So failure, dealing with pressure, dealing with injury. But if they can get some training on how to do that, it'll not only help them to be successful in sports, but also in life.
You know what, Michael Jordan has said a lot of quotes like that. I was like, look, I failed a bunch before I succeeded. And some of the best hitters in baseball have said, look, I'm a great player and I fail 7 out of 10 times I go up to the plate. Perspective has a big role in this.
Absolutely. Perspective and attitude.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Kimberly Wagner, we thank you for the expertise this morning.
Thank you.